All right, welcome to this explainer. We are diving deep into the tactical clash between Wolves and Fulham. I'm your data guy, ready to rip into the expected goals and underlying metrics to find the real story on the pitch.
And I'll be breaking down the shape, the positioning, and the on-pitch matchups. We've got a really fascinating stylistic war here. On one side, a team literally fighting to keep their heads above water, and on the other, a squad trying to force their structured game plan away from home. Let's look at the defining context.
The momentum difference here is wild. Wolves are coming into this in just a brutally negative psychological phase. They are feeling the sheer weight of severe relegation pressure, especially after getting completely dismantled 3-0 by Brighton. The numbers show they are struggling terribly in front of goal.
Exactly. And when you're starved for goals and your confidence is shot, your entire tactical shape suffers. Then you flip the script to Fulham. Sure, they're coming off a chaotic 1-0 loss to Bournemouth. But remember, that game was totally derailed by a red card. Their actual structural stability, it's still completely intact. They might not be dominant on the road, but their overall squad balance is just miles ahead of Wolves right now.
Okay, let's get into the actual tactics. Because of their situation, Wolves are basically forced to protect the metal. They drop into this really compact 3-4-2-1, which, let's be honest, operates as a flat 5-4-1 low block when they're defending. They want to clog up those central areas and just pray for fast transitions and second balls, because sustained possession is just not working for them.
Right, and staring down that low block, you have Marco Silva rolling out his trademark 4-2-3-1. So, the million-dollar question, how on earth does Fulham break down a 5-4-1? Wide areas. Period. Silva is going to use his fullbacks, we're talking Timothy Castagna and Anthony Robinson, to stretch Wolves horizontally. Push those fullbacks super high and wide, which then lets Fulham's wingers tuck inside into the half spaces. The whole plan is to attack the spaces directly behind Wolves' wingbacks, drag those center backs completely out of position, and totally shatter that compact block.
But honestly, the data screams massive danger for the home side before a ball is even kicked. Look at this injury list. Wolves are dealing with an absolute crisis in goal. Jose Sa is out with an injury, Sam Johnston is super doubtful with a shoulder issue. Oh, and they're also missing Enzo Gonzalez to a knee injury.
That goalkeeper situation fundamentally breaks their defensive security. Seriously, when your entire game plan is sitting in a 5-4-1 low block and just absorbing pressure for 70 minutes, you need absolute certainty from the guy between the posts. Without their primary shot stoppers, that whole defensive foundation is insanely fragile. Fulham's attackers know the assignment. Just put the ball on frame and test a totally depleted goalkeeper situation.
Now, Fulham isn't totally off the hook with injuries either. They're missing Joachim Andersen to a suspension, and both Alex Iwobi and Ryan Sessegnon are doubtful with hamstring and muscle issues respectively. Losing Andersen is huge, though. Fulham controls the tempo so much better than Wolves, but without Andersen, their aerial defending takes a massive hit. And even worse, it totally disrupts how they build from the back. He is the guy making those progressive line-breaking passes from the center-back spot. Add in a potential Iwobi absence, and suddenly Fulham loses that crucial ball-carrying ability and final third creativity. It's going to make exploiting those wide overloads we just talked about a whole lot harder. Even with Andersen missing, the math is still leaning heavy toward the visitors. The win comparator algorithm, which bakes in recent form, squad health, and the head-to-head baseline, gives Fulham a 45% win probability. Wolves are sitting at 30%, with the draw at 25%. Which honestly just proves that playing at Molineux is the literal only thing keeping Wolves in this mathematically. Exactly. Statistically speaking, this isn't screaming blowout. The home field advantage caps Fulham's win probability from getting totally overwhelming. But when you stack Wolves' rock-bottom confidence against Fulham's vastly superior control phase, the algorithm clearly hands Marco Silva's guys the mathematical edge.
Let's reframe this vertical battle through expected goals, or XG. The models project Fulham at 1.35 XG compared to just 0.95 for Wolves. That's exactly why the most likely outcome is projected at a 1-2 Fulham win, or maybe a gritty 1-1 if Wolves somehow manage to completely kill the game's tempo.
And that XG gap is all about chance quality. Fulham is projected to create significantly cleaner looks. If they can pin Wolves' wingbacks deep, like we outlined in the tactical breakdown, they are going to get high-quality shots off. Wolves, on the flip side, are sub 1.0 XG because their whole offensive plan relies on pure chaos, fast transitions, scrambling for second balls, and hoping for a lucky set piece.
So, for the fantasy manders out there sweating the underlying metrics, this matchup gives us two completely opposing statistical anchors. Defensively, you've got Wolves' João Gomes. Offensively, it's Fulham's Rodrigo Muniz. And tactically, these two literally define how this game will be played.
João Gomes gives you this incredibly high defensive floor. Because Wolves are going to be pinned back defending for huge chunks of the game, Gomes is just going to eat up recoveries, tackles, and central midfield duels. For fantasy output, his floor is actually better than almost every attacker on the Wolves roster. Then on the flip side, Muniz gives you that massive offensive upside. He is the absolute central penalty box reference for Fulham. Combine that with Wolves' defensive instability and that massive goalkeeper crisis we mentioned, Muniz's goal involvement probability just skyrockets.
Actually, let's just isolate this specific data point because it is massive. 34%.
Yep, that is Rodrigo Muniz's exact probability to score in this game.
Spot on. Now, 34% might not sound like an elite, guaranteed number in a vacuum, right? But in the context of this specific match, he is far and away the clearest goal scorer profile on the pitch. Fulham are projected to generate the higher XG, and Muniz is the absolute tip of that spear. With Wolves completely scrambling at the back, literally all the offensive signals point straight to him.
But hey, a game defined by deep defending and fast transitions is also a game defined by fouls. If we look at the discipline radar, 4 guys are in real danger of getting booked. João Gomes is high risk just because of the sheer volume of his defensive workload. Then you've got Sasa Lukic for Fulham at medium-high, along with Calvin Bassey and Toti Gomes sitting at medium risk.
The data supports this completely, but let's break down the actual pressing triggers and tactical reasons why.
It's all about those transition moments. The second Wolves try to break out of that low block, Sasa Lukic is the guy assigned to make those tactical fouls to stop those counters dead. And for Wolves, Toti Gomes is playing left center back. If Fulham actually pulls off those wide overloads with Castagna and Wilson, Toti is going to be repeatedly exposed in one-on-one physical battles. That is a total recipe for risky challenges.
So, what does this all mean? We come back to the ultimate collision of data and tactics. The numbers heavily lean Fulham, predicting a controlled 1-2 victory built on structural superiority and a massive mismatch in the goalkeeping department.
But at the end of the day, tactics are played by humans, not spreadsheets. Is that compact 5-4-1 block going to completely crack under the crushing weight of relegation pressure and missing personnel? Or can Gary O'Neill's squad drag Marco Silva's Fulham into an ugly, chaotic transition war at Molineux where second balls and set pieces steal the day? That is the defining question for May 17th. Thanks for joining us for this explainer. Keep your eyes on the data, watch the wide areas, and we'll see whose tactical philosophy breaks first.